How's it going, everyone? I hope you're having a kick-ass week. Now, this week I set out to make something that I thought was going to be pretty standard, but I ended up making something that I've realized is really sentimental to me because no one can ever make this, and even I can never make it again. And there's actually two of them. Welcome to Distiller, everyone. I'm Jesse, and this is the channel all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. Alright guys, so today I'm guessing maybe you've worked out that I'm talking about Feints, and what I've done is I've made an all Feints run here. Now I do want to talk about this stuff and tell you what I've made and why there's two of them, but before I do that I want to have a quick talk about number one, what Feints are, and number two, people ask me all the time what to do with the Feints. So here we go, alright? Alright, so first up, what are Feints? You do a distillation run, you end up with a whole lot of stuff that comes out of the still, and you have to decide what's going to make the cut and what's not going to make the cut, what's going to go into the, the blend or whatever it is that you put into the barrel or whatever it happens to be, right? The Feints are anything that don't make that cut, and it would be a pretty safe assumption to say that the 4 shots are not part of that. So we take the 4 shots, we get rid of those. The Feints are what's left over, everything else that doesn't make it into. So the heads that we don't want and the tails that we don't want into the spirit that we've got there. Now, there's a few different ways of dealing with these Feints. What do you want to do with these Feints? There's still a lot of good stuff in them, you don't want to get rid of them. The first one, and I guess probably the most common in terms of the most traditional way, is to take those Feints and then put them straight back into the next batch of whatever it is you make. So the perfect example is something where you're doing, for us we call them generations, so a UJ SSM, a sour mash, something like that. You're taking backset out of the still and then you're putting the Feints back into the next run and so on and so forth. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong in doing this. In fact, I would totally suggest it, especially after trying this, and I would say that that is going to give you a lot more flavor. There is something to be said that maybe you don't want to do that indefinitely because the not so nice things in those Feints can build up over time. Yeah, I guess I can kind of see that. I probably wouldn't want to do it indefinitely either. I'd go for a while and then, get rid of those Feints, start over, perhaps. The next thing that you can do, and some people do this, which is completely legitimate in my mind, is they just decide that, you know what, I didn't put that into my spirits because I didn't like it, so why would I want to put it into anything else? I'm going for clean, I'm going for subtle, I'm going for whatever it is that you're into. If you just really don't like tails, if you really don't like heads, if you want to ditch them and not use them again, that's fine. If you're going to do that, make sure you still make use of them. Use them for cleaning, for fire lighting, for whatever it is that you want to do. Don't chuck them out, guys. Find something to do with them. Now the third option is what I've done here, and that is to save all of your Feints up and do a all Feints run later on. Now once again, there's multiple ways of doing even this. Now the most logical or common, once again, I guess you would call it, is to take all of the Feints from a certain thing. So if you made a whole lot of bourbon over and over again, you're making the same recipe over and over again, you save the Feints up from all of those runs, you put them all into one big run, and you do a all Feints bourbon run. Now generally what people report from this is a whole lot of extra flavor, and quite often people will say that that's the magical run, that's the one they really like. So what I did is took all the Feints that I've ever had, everything, all of it, all the stuff you've seen on the channel, a couple of little other projects that weren't on the channel, all of it went in together into the boiler. It turned out at 40 litres and just under 40%. I had to water it down a smidge. I didn't want it sitting at, I think it was 46% or something on average. So let's jump back. I'll show you really quickly what I did to distill this, and a little bit on the blending, and then we'll come back here and I can taste it, alright? I figured this was another great opportunity to get to know the 4-inch bubble plates a little better, but seeing as the low wines were already at almost 40%, I decided to go with just 2 plates this time around. I wanted to really compress the heads on this run, so I used a super modest flow rate to take off about 100 mils of 4 shots before adjusting with the CCVM head to take a more modest flow for the rest of the heads, and then moving to an even quicker flow for the majority of the run. Once again, I am totally impressed with these things. I was hitting about 92% through the whole run, and the amount of flavor coming off these things is absolutely bonkers, to be perfectly honest with you. So the more I use them, the more I think I'm a convert. Alright guys, we ended up with a lot of products, pretty much all at right around 90%. Now I've already taken 100 mils of 4 shots from here, but this is still about headsy, right around here it breaks up. Now from here to about here, it's basically tastes like a rum. That's pretty much it. Now from here down through here, it tastes like kind of a really wheaty single malt. Now, because this is such a, a personal thing, I'm not going to give you full-on blending notes. I don't think it's really going to help you. Let me get it blended and I will come back to you when I'm done, and then we can finally sit down and have a little bit more of a talk about this little project. Cool? So what I decided to do is, because the high and the low halves of the runs were so different from each other, that I was going to make a blend of each. And I've got a fair bit of product here, so I was happy to split it up. There's more than enough to do both. So it was really, really interesting to me that the first half of the run straight up tasted like Buccaneer Bob's, but with a whole lot less of the funk, more of the banana, more of the fruity ester, more of the tropical fruits, and not a lot of the real deep dark rum. More on the light molasses, syrup, honey, actually, honey sweetness. That's more what it's like. On the bottom end of the run, it was more a lot of wheat sort of flavors, a lot of the wheat brand sort of flavors coming through, which is interesting. I didn't think I'd get a lot from the FFE. There wasn't a lot in terms of volume from FFE in there, but there's also the rye and a couple of other whiskies that had those sort of things in it. And then some corn, and then way down the bottom I didn't pick up any smoke, which I was really hoping for down the bottom. I was hoping to get some peat, but I got a little bit of the brininess down the bottom there. So what I've got here is the top end of the blend, which is the the rum end of things, and it is bursting with flavor. There's so much freaking flavor in it. Honey, tropical fruit, a touch of molasses, but very light, airy molasses. Banana, yeah, banana and tropical fruit. On the bottom end of things, yeah, okay, so this is grungier. It's not real tailsy. I stopped it quite short of actually getting into tails because I couldn't find any smoke deep down in the tails. Yep. Corn, there's sweet corn, there is the aniseedy flavors, the aniseedy licoricey sort of flavors, and I'm assuming that's coming from the wheat brand and the rye type things that I've used in there. Quite a lot of barley actually, not roasty, not toasty, biscuity sort of rye. Yeah. Both of these are very different, and both of these I can see turning into something quite special over time. So I've got these at 45% now. I'm going to, of course, oak them, and I'm going to put them down for quite a while. I've got around about 4 litres of each, both at about 90%. So, for those of you wondering about the plated column, hell yes, it carries a lot of flavour over. This is, like I said, distilled to 90%, and there's oodles and oodles of flavour. Yes, I said oodles at 90%. So, mind blowing on that one. Yes, I will be making a review and sort of an exploration of the kit, but let me get used to it, guys. It's only the second time I've run the thing, so let me run it 4 or 5 times, and then I'll come back and tell you what I think really about the product. Now, at the very beginning of this video, I told you guys that this was sentimental to me. These two spirits, I don't know what to call them. I guess they're a specialty spirit. They've got a bit of damn near everything in them. Are literally an average or a amalgamation of everything I've done on this channel. Everything I've done on this channel, and a little bit of extra stuff as well. That's nuts. That's really freaking cool. And I've got 2 versions of it that I can keep for God knows how long, mature for how long. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't expecting something sentimental when I went into this, but the more I think about it, that's really quite special. It is like a distiller's infinity bottle, basically is what it is. And I think I might be making this tradition on the channel. So what I want from you guys is, I want a name for this. So I don't want to call it 2016 to 2019 Feints. Sounds lame. I want another word, something that's, I don't mind calling it 26 to 2019. I think it's cool that it's got a vintage. So 2016 to 2019 average, 2016 to 2019 amalgamation, 2016 to 2019, you get the idea. Come up with a cool name for me, guys. I'm happy for you to go into the woods. I'm happy for you to go a little geeky. Throw some ideas around, and then maybe I guess I could chuck some of the top 5 ideas over on Patreon for the Patreons to vote on it. Speaking of which, guys, I've been talking to a couple of very cool companies some more, and there's, I hope, going to be some cool stuff coming up for the Patreons. So if you are a Patreon, make sure you're watching the lenses and the posts coming up soon. There'll be something in there for you. Speaking of which, thank you very much, Patreons. You know the deal, guys. I couldn't do this without you, and like I said, I'm trying to organize some stuff to help appreciate you a little bit more as well. Okay. Whew! Alright, guys, so this one took me a little by surprise. This has turned into something a lot more special than I thought it was going to be for me, and I wanted to share it with you, to give you the information about Feints, but more so maybe you guys can do something like this as well. Could be kind of cool, no? I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure to hit the notification button down below, the little bell icon. YouTube's changing things up again. It's even more important than it has been. And if you really enjoyed it, share it with someone else that you think might like it. In any case, guys, that's it for me this week. I'm out of here. Keep on chasing the craft.